Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Communications from Home, right here at Facebook at our main fan page for Star Nations organization. And tonight is Tuesday, March 12th. And welcome to this evening's spiritual talk show, and powered by our partners at BeLive.tv. And we like our partners at BeLive. The app that they created and that we have access to is really gives us a chance to do some really fun kind of interviews and shows, right? So welcome. Today is a rainy evening here in Tomo, Wisconsin. It started raining this afternoon, right after my afternoon live stream, and it's been raining ever since. So it's going to be a bit messy out there, I think, because we have a lot of snow on the ground, and I don't know what's going to happen to all of that when it rains and it starts to fall. The temperatures start to fall again later tonight, so it'll be interesting for sure. That's for sure. And this weekly show that I do called Communications from Home. It's my way to be able to bring you information of all different kinds. And tonight is the evening in the month that I get to share with you something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is our monthly magazine, Star Nations magazine. We just published on the 10th, on Sunday, and the March issue of the magazine. And I wanted to share a bit about that process with you. It was a bit different this time around. Yeah, and a lot of it had to do with Mercury retrograde. So I'm going to share some backstories with you. But before we get into that, I am going to like and share the live stream. Got my phone right here, and I'm going to go to Facebook, and I am going to go to our main fan page, and I'm going to look for our live stream. And there we are. And so I'm going to like it and I'm going to share it. And I'm sharing it right now over to my news feed so that my friends know that I'm live streaming. And so I'm just going to let them know. Oops, got to spell correctly. That would be good. I'm live streaming my weekly show. And please join me. There we go. And then I'm going to send it over to, I believe, one of the closed groups. And I'm going to send it over to the academy. And just letting the peeps know that we're live streaming. And please join me. There we go. And we're going to send it over to the academy. There, that works. I usually do the radio network, but I already did that one earlier, so we don't want to send it twice. All right, let's see who's in the chat. Rochelle's here, and thank you, Rochelle. Good evening to you too. And she shared. Thank you, Rochelle. I appreciate that. You know, every time we have a show, a live stream show, we ask our audience to do the sharing and the liking. And the reason why, right, is because that way the show can be in the news feed a bit more often, and we're easier to find. And this is what I usually say about this, is that as energy workers and light workers, it's kind of like doing a civic duty, you know? Do you remember when you first realized that you were a spiritual being in a physical body and truly understanding it, right? And you're looking for all kinds of information because we're like a sponge then, right? Just soaking up as much information as we possibly can. You know, reading books, watching videos, going to classes, you know, having conversations. Yeah, it's voracious, right? And so anytime that we can lend a hand, be a little bit helpful to somebody who is seeking, why not? Why not do it, right? Yeah, paying it forward, sort of. That's a good way to look at it. All right, so here we go. We're going to talk about the magazine. I'm going to bring the pictures up here. Let's see. Here's the cover. The cover of the March issue. The cover is all about the earth and sun. The earth and sun. And I just loved the colors on here. That's one of the reasons why I chose it. Actually, we had two different images, and this is the one. As soon as we put the titles on there and put the masthead on, I could feel it that this was the cover. And I know I'm partial. I realize I'm partial, but it is such a pretty picture. I love it. And having the sun in the background like that, so we can say, is it a setting sun or is it a rising sun? But I think it's gorgeous. I think it's gorgeous. The cover. How I search for the cover, right, is I look at the topics each month. We have a list of topics, and I take a look at the topics, and I'm connected to my spiritual team, and I'm asking them about which topic should we choose for the cover. And once we do that, then I can start searching for an image. And I'm still connected to and listening to my spiritual team as they're, because there's at least 3 or 4 different places that I look for a cover. And yeah. And it takes a little bit. It really does. And when you're in Mercury retrograde, it takes just a little bit longer. Because I was having problems with the internet. It kept shutting down one of the websites that I use to find pictures, and so having to deal with that, and so it made it just a little bit of a challenge. But once I find the images, then it's all about selecting the article titles that go on the cover. And many times it really is about what the contributing writers write about, what their title describes their article, right? And sometimes, it's really very, very easy to select. For instance, it could be a featured article, and so I know that's going to go on the cover. Other times it's like, oh my goodness. So sometimes I take out my pendulum and douse on which article should appear on the cover, because they're so equally good for the cover, right? And so we're using our intuition, we're using our sacred tools at the very beginning of the creation of that issue. Yeah. All right. So the articles that appeared on this cover. Excuse me, we have this one. This is the featured article. And it's by Julie Hedges. And Julie contacted me, I don't know, must have been about 3 weeks ago or so. And she asked me if I had found anybody to write the featured article yet. And I hadn't. And she says, do you mind if I write it? And I said, no, I don't mind at all. In fact, please do. It's if I could have reached through the internet to hug her, I would have. The title of her article is "Corner the Sky," and it's all about the monarch butterfly. And truly, Julie took a spiritual trip with the monarch butterfly. She told me that there was aspects of the butterfly's existence that really touched her and helped her understand even parts of her journey, her experience here. Yeah. Yeah. And the pictures that you see kind of in the middle, Julie took the time to interview a lady who runs oh gosh, I don't have her name here. It's Deborah. Her first name is Deborah. She runs a not-for-profit that helps monarch butterflies. And so these pictures are actually belonging to her, to Deborah. And she shows every stage of the butterfly from the chrysalis all the way down to when the butterfly comes out and is actually sitting with his wings out. It's fascinating pictures. Julie says that she dubs the monarch butterfly the golden monarch generation. And here's why, is because she says their newly formed wings and wisdom known only to the Creator. The golden monarch generation takes flight for the journey of a lifetime. Those butterflies bear all the plans and breath and spirit of the previous generations. And so each butterfly is carrying the information from the previous generation, from their parents. Okay. And so their parents make this flight just so their children can be born, so that they can pass that genetic information on to the next generation. That's why she calls them the golden monarch generation. She says all patterns, hope, and timing of their predecessors are planted in them before they hatch. Adult monarchs expire so soon after mating because they invest all of their life force in the next generation. Monarch butterflies are models of transformational history because they exist to pay it forward. Their lineage is sown into the new caterpillars. Every hatchling grows so that the whole story can be unveiled. She says that every flight is a prayer of affirmation to make way and begin again. And the thing is that they fly such far distances, from northern United States and Canada all the way down to Mexico. And it's a journey. It's a journey. And to read the article, you'll find out how Julie really feels about this. She actually wrote a poem specifically for this article. And she also shares an inspirational YouTube that while she was writing the article, she happened to be watching some videos, and there was a song that came on, and she wanted to share it with you. And so that's also in the featured article. But I wanted to thank Julie. She really did. She really did go the distance with this article. She really did. And just to interview another person, somebody who really knows the monarch butterflies very, very well. So this article, if you haven't read it yet, I hope you do, and see and feel what Julie felt when she was with the monarch butterfly. And my goodness, they're beautiful, beautiful butterflies, aren't they? Yeah. And friends of mine actually plant milkweed specifically. They go out in the fall and gather the seed pods, and so they can plant even more. And why is that? Because that way the butterflies have a place for them to lay their eggs. Yeah. Yeah. A little water. And who's next? Next up. Oh, this is Orchin and Carl's article. Let's see. Got to find the write-up on it. Of course, it's on the front page. All right. It says the diamond radiating from the sun. The diamond radiating from the sun. Now, here is an article that kind of pulls together a lot of experience, I have to say. And when we were working and laying out, I was preparing this article for the layout, searching for, the images or the picture to go with it and that sort of thing. Yeah. My Word document software, Microsoft Word, kept closing. I would highlight something to copy it and paste it. And as soon as I would copy it, it would close. I didn't know what was going on. And so I actually even checked to see if it needed to be updated, and it didn't. I don't know. It kept shutting down. And so what I did was I sat there for a moment, called in my spiritual team, and said, okay, so what gives? What am I supposed to do with this? And it was like, take a break. Take a break. And so I took a break. I played with George for a little bit, and then I got the nudge to go and literally shut down my computer, close everything, and shut it off, and let it rest for 15, 20 minutes. And so that's what I did. And I came back. I came back about a half hour later or so, and restarted everything, and it started to work. And so I have no clue why why that was happening, because it didn't need to be updated. My computer didn't need to be updated at all, because I checked, and so I don't know what happened, but it made me take a break. And so I just got into the flow of things and said, okay, all right, well then let's go play with George. Hi, Pat. Good to have you here this evening. It's always good to see you in the chat. And so the article here, I'm going to give it a solo here. The diamonds. The diamonds. Orchard starts out her article with, did you know you have an inner diamond light? Orchard and Carl share the vital connection between the earth and the sun. Orchard tells us about the ancient ones' awareness of the importance of the sun. Like us, the ancient ones, they recognized the sun represented light, warmth, and growth. She says that the recognition of the sun is very important. The ancients also believed diamonds reflected the Egyptian sun god Ra, who they considered the creator of the world. And then she goes on to say that within each of us is a diamond light seed of divine consciousness waiting to be activated. And so that was the first time I'd ever heard it referred to as the diamond radiating from the sun. And so it's a very, I believe it's a very Egyptian mystery school concept, and Orchard helps us to understand that. And she also tells us about the meaning of the sun and the belief in the sun from each of the places around Egypt. And it's fascinating information. It's like a mini class within an article. That's what it is. And then what we included in there was the recorded show that we did for the mystery school last Thursday. Was it last Thursday? It feels like it should be like 2 weeks ago. And with Carl and I, because Orchard wasn't feeling well, and we talked about the sun and the earth, and that was fascinating information, because Carl shared a bit about the great event and information energy coming from the central sun. Yeah, so it was really good. Julie Hedges just joined us. Hello, Julie. There you go. I want to show you something, Julie. Hang on. Let me go back one picture. We just finished talking about your featured article. Yeah, we're talking about how this what you had shared with me about the article being very insightful to you, and how the life of a butterfly really touched your heart. Their journey, right? Yeah. So thank you so much, Julie, for writing this article. You're right. It was insightful and informative, because understanding the life cycle of the monarch butterfly helps us to even know ourselves a little bit better, I think. So thank you for that. All right. And then next up, oh my gosh, don't you just love this picture? This is Maureen Mann's article, and that is the relationship between intuition, mindfulness, and the angels. And this one is very educational as well, because what Maureen does is that she gives us some tips and how, well, first of all, she explains to us what mindfulness is, and also how it affects our intuition. And she gives us tips on how to be more mindful, right? And so this is what how he described the article. She says, how do the angels help with mindfulness and intuition? She posed this question to the angels during a meditation, and this is what they told her. Quote, "We are here for all beings who wish to seek a more profound truth about their existence. In reality, each person is connected to the greater whole. Each soul has incarnated in the world at this time to offer a glimpse of the divine in their unique way. We angels are here to help further the mission of oneness, healing, and clarity in the world. We offer an expedited way to peace, harmony, and the expanded feeling of love that comes through mindful existence," end quote. She says that as spiritual beings, humans have an experience. We have, and we live a very complicated life. Now, that's putting it kind of lightly, right? Understanding the interconnected relationship between mindfulness and intuition and angel therapy helps us to navigate our lives in a way that offers illumination, she says. Yeah. And so, to be able to, that mindfulness is really about bringing your awareness to the moment, and to be really fully here, right? And not having our mental mind maybe in the future or in the past, but to actually be here. And so there's so many ways to be able to do that, and mindfulness is one path to that. And the way that Maureen shares this information in her article, she gives us tips for that, and really easy, basic tips, and that anybody can do anywhere, anytime. And I'm hoping you guys read the article, and so that even when we're doing live stream shows like my daily show, is that you can bring that up. You can say, yeah, I was mindful today, right? And this is what I did. Yeah. So Maureen shares that with us, and her show's coming up next week, Thursday, the 4th. I'm sorry, no, the 4th Thursday. The 4th, not the 3rd, the 4th Thursday. All right. So who's next? Oh, this is a good one. This is Tony Charette's article under the Sacred Masculine column. And one of the topics was humor for this issue. And Tony's the title of his article is "Humor Loves a Good Joke." He says, how do you in a single day ensure that you get some humor in your life? Do you plan a few minutes to hop online and look for things to make you laugh? Consider putting that on your calendar. You are worth it. And speaking of humor, in the old days, our ancestors looked to the trickster energy. And some of us still do, to provide much entertainment, sometimes unasked for or unbidden, as well as much joking, hilarity, and sometimes severity of thought. For thousands of years in Native American culture, for instance, the trickster spirit, he says, of energy has been met with particular wariness and glee, all combined into one. And I can attest to that. Both ancient and modern times, there were human need for humor. Now, we also know that both science, bioscience, medical science, psychology, there's many different schools of thought on this, and most of them all point in the direction that keeping your humor, having a good laugh often is healthy and helps us to release stress, right? And when I was searching for a picture for Tony's article, I went through a couple of different renditions. And in his article, he's talking about more things in modern day than what our grandparents did, or our great grandparents did. And he was bringing it into this century. And so when I saw this picture, I thought, oh, this one's perfect, because they're standing around a computer, a laptop, and they're laughing, right? And how many of us have done that? How many of us have done that? Shared a meme or watched a video and just laughed and laughed and laughed. And so it's healthy and it's good for us. His mention of the Native American culture, and each of us, in our own nations, there's 568, I think now, federally recognized nations, and there's many, many more that aren't federally recognized. But there is this thing about Native sense of humor that Indian humor is what they call it, and I actually wrote about it in my editorial too. It is a sense of humor that helps to break tension. When things get too serious, somebody will, make a joke or tease somebody about it. And usually it's the person who's the most serious. And so sometimes it's taken in stride and as a joke, and other times it's like, it's kind of prickly. But it is said in jest. Yeah. So, and my mom and I actually have this thing about having one good laugh a day, and sometimes we make it all through the day, and it's at night when she's getting ready for bed that we end up having a really good laugh. And I'm talking about the kind of laugh where you get tears in your eyes, your stomach muscles hurt, your back muscles hurt. It is a hearty laugh. Yeah. And so if you haven't had one of those in a while, you might want to find a way to do that, because it's going to lead to the breaking up of the stress. Yeah. And Julie's saying, like the grounding reminders, maybe she can do mindful reminders. Oh, that's a good one with Marines. Yeah, that's a good idea, Julie. It's a fantastic idea. We're going to have to share that with her. It would be nice even, just to do it like once a day, right? I know that she does card draws and shares those on Instagram, and she might actually share them on her business website or fan page. She might. Yeah, it's a good idea. All right. So Tony Charette, did you know that Tony is from Michigan, and he is Anishinaabeg? He's Ojibwa, and I think Ojibwa. And so when he and I get together, or even when we do a video call, it's kind of fun, to talk to somebody who we share a very similar background culturally, and so it's kind of fun to joke around like that. We use that Indian humor. Okay, and then next up, see, here we go. I can't get the picture to move. All right, we're gonna take it off from. Going to do that and see what that does. Well, all right, we're going to talk a little bit about Mercury retrograde. And I have this little saying that has always worked for me, and that is I accept all of the blessings of the Mercury retrograde, and I release anything less than a blessing. Okay. And so it kind of puts a different feeling around the Mercury retrograde. And I have to tell you that I had to bring that to my mind and to my heart many times during the creation of the March issue, because we'd have things like this that I can't get the picture to move. And so what I'm going to do is, okay, I don't know what to do here. Let's think about this a bit. I think what I'm going to do is refresh my screen. That's the only thing I can really do. And let's hope that it does something to it, okay? So cross your fingers. Cross your fingers. I'm going to refresh my screen. I'm just going to be gone for like a second, and then I'll be right back, okay? And see if we can get the pictures to move. Hang on. Well, that was fun. It's got to be patient. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Could you please let me know if you can see me and hear me? Okay, if you could make a comment in the comments, that would be very helpful. It took a little bit longer than usual. Usually, when I do a refresh, it's like we're in, we're out, seconds. I had to wait for the thing, the spinning. Yeah. So I'm glad I'm back. I don't know what that was all about, but we can, let me see if I test the pictures here. All right, I'm going to reload my pictures, I think. This is Mercury retrograde. How many people have had issues with Mercury retrograde? Even the little things, this time around. Because I do so much with the internet and with computers and things like that, it tends to happen a little bit more often for me. But we'll see how this goes. All right. Oh, there we go. Starts to move. Where there's a will, right? All right, who are we doing next? We just did Tony, and we're going to do this one next. I love this picture. We can get it up to the broadcast. I'm going to tell you about Polly Joe's article. It's called Aligning with Your Soul Purpose. And it is truly a channeled writing from the Ancient One. Okay, well, I don't think the pictures are going to work tonight. Rats. Oh my gosh. All right. I guess it's not going to work. It's now, it's kind of frozen in the lobby. I don't know what to do with that. I don't want to refresh my screen again. So, okay. Thank you, Pat, for letting me know that you can see me and hear me just fine. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Anne's here too. She says, I need a refresh button too. I don't know what this is. Oh my gosh. And my afternoon show would perfect. No problem. Nothing wrong. And we have such cool pictures to show you too. So anyway, let me tell you a little bit about Polly Joe's article, okay? Is that looking for the picture for that one was kind of a challenge, because I really wanted it to speak to and through the image of aligning. See, there it is. Now, what the heck? I didn't touch anything. I didn't touch a thing. All right. Oh, come back. That's Polly Joe's picture for her article. It's a fascinating picture. And as soon as I saw it, it felt like it jumped off the screen at me. And so I knew that was the one that I needed to use for Polly Joe's article, aligning with your soul purpose. And with that, you can see the heart. You can see the power animals. You can see the energy running from his hands. And, it's a very powerful image. And I wanted something that would speak to that, but also be able to carry the energy of both Polly Joe and the Ancient One. Okay, because the Ancient One had quite a bit to say in this one. It says, have you said to yourself, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? ? Or the question, or I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something more with my life. That's a statement. So many of us say, there's got to be something more to life than getting up, having breakfast, going to work, coming home, eating supper, going to bed. There's got to be something more to life than that. And so she says that there is this feeling of unrest, anticipation, or anxiety that you may have missed something. Very rarely do you find people who feel completely at ease and comfortable with where they are in any given moment. This anxiety leads to the desperate search for the life purpose or soul mission. And so how many of us are on that, right? A whole bunch of us. And in essence, it's why are you here? The Ancient One wrote this article channeled by Polly Joe, and the Ancient One is one of Polly Joe's spiritual helpers on her team, and he gives us an insight from a spirit's point of view, and how they can help us with the search for our soul mission, our life purpose, because we all have one, right? And so many times, it's like we're kind of in a quandary about it. And the Ancient One has some points, some tips for us, and some, I'd call it deeper understanding of why we do what we do. Okay. And it's a fascinating, really, to read it, knowing that this is coming directly from Spirit. Yeah. Yeah. And Anne is saying that's exactly where I've been for a while. A lot of people have, and a lot of people have. And I think that this particular article is very helpful for those that have been seeking those kinds of answers, and yeah, I think you'd be surprised at what the Ancient One would have to say to you about that. I can't give it all away. You actually have to read the article. But let me tell you this. We have talked about it on many occasions. Many occasions. All right. Cross your fingers. We're going to move the picture again. All right. And so now we're going to go to Eddie Mullen's article. Eddie Mullen's article. Yeah. Okay. Here's Eddie's article. It's The Wild Feminine Paradigm, Living the Experience. The Wild Feminine Paradigm, Living the Experience. I know that picture's a little dark in there, but that the image is really about the darkness, which is a feminine. It's the divine feminine that it shows. And Eddie actually picked this, selected this image himself, and so to be able to pair it up with his article, because he was on a roll. He was on a roll with this one. Eddie does, he does his own blog, and he also does a podcast. And what he did was he included his podcast in this particular article. And I think it's like 20 minutes or something like that. And so it's embedded into the magazine. And so if you click on the image for the podcast in the tablet version, or in the iPhone version, or the smartphone, there's a link to be able to click. And if you're looking at it with the PDF, or I'm sorry, the print on demand, there is the link there for it. And also, if you use a QR code, you'll be able to access it really easy. But anyway, Eddie, he says that, here's another question for you. Do you know what wild feminine paradigm is? Do you know what that is? He says, if you don't, buckle your seatbelt for an insightful and fantastic ride. Eddie shares with us about this ancient feminine energy. The biggest change in awareness is the experience of manifesting with the intention of creating through the heart. So it's another way of being able to say that you're creating your life through your heart. Not only creating through the heart, but through the intelligence and wisdom of the feminine energy. You have been working through the darkness of your shadows for several years, and the intensity has been turned up in the past 8 weeks. Now, as we shift into higher aspects of consciousness, the epic stargate frequency becomes magical in creating with the wild feminine paradigm. If you'd like to know more about this, you got to read the article. But it really is, because we knew that when 2012 came around, that the sacred feminine was going to be coming forward, and actually becoming more of a energetic force in the universe, in our world, right? The further we move along in the energy vibration of the Aquarius, right, is that we have more divine feminine, sacred feminine energy occurring, and access to it is much easier. And balancing out our own energies so that we can have access to that, right? Yeah. And so Eddie's writing about it. And there is a part in Eddie's article um, where he is actually sharing an experience with it. And I don't know. There could actually be some channeling in there. There was several pieces that had channeled information in it, and yeah, the wild feminine paradigm. And when I saw that article title, I had to smile because who wouldn't want to read that one, right? It really pulls you in and says, "What is that?" And when you get halfway through it, you're going to say, "Wait a minute, I want that." And by the end of the article, you're going to hopefully say, I have that. I recognize that. Okay. It's very interesting. And I would really be interested in knowing, for those who are reading the magazine, to share with us your insight and what you felt, or if it touched you at all. Right. That'd be great if you guys could do that. So let's see. I think that's it on the pictures, I believe. Yep, we got them all. We got them all. I'm going to bring this one back up to the cover. Now, the magazine itself, so when we're creating the magazine, it actually begins before the previous issue is complete. So we had, for instance, we didn't publish the March issue right until the 10th, but I send out an email to all the contributing writers like the first week of the month, and give them the topics again. And those writers who write quarterly or every other month, I let them know who's up to bat. And we start the preparation for it. And the previous article isn't even published yet. And so the contributing writers are then starting to pull their thoughts together and talking to their spiritual teams and looking at the topics and which one are we going to write about, what's a message that we need to get across in one of those topics, right? In the meantime, I'm preparing their articles for the upcoming, for the issue that we're currently working on. And when I do that, I'm taking their articles that they've already been edited, but many times what I'll do is I'll send it through Grammarly or something like that, and matching up the images, or selecting the image, matching them up, creating the document that I can send to the elves. And at Elfhelm, that's what I call them, our layout specialists, the elves. And so then eventually what I do starting on the 24th through the 28th, I send them all of the articles and all of the pictures. And then they start their process, which is laying it out. Yep. And once they do their magic, because sometimes it is magic, they let me know that the PDF is ready, or that the text version is ready, and that means that we get to do another round of editing. Yeah. And once that's done, then we can put it into the platform that turns it into a digital magazine. And then I am doing the optimization, which is putting in all of the links and all of the video links and all of that. And that takes me about 2 or 3 days. And then it's time to test it. Time to test the magazine, make sure that all those links work. And it gives us a chance to tweak it one more time. And you know what? We're two-legged. We're human. And especially during Mercury retrograde, we miss things. We miss things, or our communication, because the communication I have with the elves is really good, but sometimes it's just a near miss. It's like So we have to backtrack a little bit and say, did you get that one message? If not, here is what I said. Um, yeah. Or in this case, where we keep where we share files, um, I uploaded everything and there were missing pictures or a missing article. And I know that I uploaded all of them because I used the outline to do it as a checklist, right? So Dropbox was eating pictures. So we had to go back and re-upload certain images. And we finally had to stop and make a joke to the owls about it. It's like, is Cookie Monster living there? And, must be liking those pictures. It must be pretty tasty because I had to re-upload, I think, 3 of them this time around. So Mercury retrograde, it really tests your patience. It really does. And to get frustrated over it, to get angry over it, it doesn't. It only enhances the weight, and that feeling of there's nothing you can do. It's frustrating. And so to be able to practice what we preach, to walk the talk, is to make sure that we're grounded, to make sure that that we had called in our spiritual teams, that we were working with the blessings of Mercury retrograde, right? Yeah. And so working on a magazine that's digital, for the most part, during Mercury retrograde, we were pulling out all of our gifts and all of our tools, and it was mass application, a mass application, to the point that on Sunday, one of the elves, her laptop, I wouldn't say it crashed, but getting it rebooted was starting to be a real problem. And so we just kind of had to sit back a little bit and wait, right? And everything worked out just fine. It just kind of put us back just a little bit. Because usually we're ready to publish like on the 9th, sometimes on the 8th. And so we're just, waiting for the 10th to roll around and I can push the publish button and start promoting. But this month it was waiting for one of the PDFs to be done. And I just made the decision, because it's self-imposed really, that I publish in the morning. And I wrote to them, I texted them, I said, listen, I can publish after I'm done with our daily live stream. So publishing my time about 3:30, right? We can do that. It's still the 10th. And so it kind of eased up the feeling like I got to get this done. And so a little bit of a breathing room and being more relaxed about it. So what happened on Sunday morning, since I wasn't publishing, and Mom was taken care of and Paul had George, I took a nap. I took a mid-morning nap. I never get a chance to do that. And so I took a mid-morning nap. And so when I got up, it felt so much better, got ready for my day, and I was more rested. So that's what it means to kind of get into the flow. I could have turned around and done it differently. I could have put the pressure on saying, no, we need to get this done before noon. And all that would have created would have been more anxiety, more angst, and maybe even some anger, and we don't want to go there. And so, so working with the gifts of Mercury retrograde rather than struggling against it, getting into the flow, and really gives us an opportunity to really practice, put into application all our tools, all those classes we've been to, all those books that we've read, helps us to be able to put them into application and to really use our gifts. And for me, being grateful for a team like I have with Elf Elm, that we've been doing this together for a long time, and so we have a way of communicating, and yeah, so it's good. It was really good. After the fact, and we're still in Mercury retrograde, right? after the publication, I actually sent them a message and said, "Woohoo!" I'm glad that one's done. Now there's a few tweaks that I have to make on it, but it's for the most part, that it was an issue that tested our resolve, tested our patience, tested our sense of humor. Yeah, I had to pull out that Indian humor a couple of times, to break up the tension. And so anyway, the backstory of the March 2019 issue 70. Some of those stories will be told again, I'm sure, down the line. A few years from now, we're going to be saying, do you remember when we did that issue in March, that retrograde? I'm sure that's going to happen. So if you're interested in getting the March issue of the Star Nations magazine, it's offered in several different versions, because we all like to have our reading material a certain way, right? We still have people who like to have the sense of feeling a physical something that they're reading, whether it's a book or a magazine, right? And so we do offer it in print on demand. Once you order it from our partners at MagCloud, it takes about 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks to get it. Just so that when you order it, you're not going to get it in the next day or two. It's going to take a little bit because it's print on demand. But our partners over there at MagCloud, they also have the magazine for us in PDF. And so what does that mean? That means that you can have the magazine on any one of your devices, whether it's your laptop or your desktop, or you can get it on your tablet. You can even get it on your phone if you wanted to, as a PDF. What you have to do with MagCloud, though, is download their app, which is free. And yeah, because I have it. I do. Because I test the magazine after it's been published. I go out there and I take a look to see what it looks like on their platform, right? Right. And they also offer it for us as a digital as well. So you can get it from them, from Apple. It's kind of going too deep, but you can get it from them as well. And then our partners at iTunes and also Google. Google does the Android version for us, and of course, Apple does the iPad and iPhone for us. So that's where it's covered for your mobile devices. So any way that you like to read the magazine, you can get it in any one of those. Yeah. All right. Well, we're nearing the top of the hour, and I do appreciate you guys being with me tonight and listening about the Star Nations magazine. I have to say that I'm very partial to it. Yeah, it's been my project from the very beginning, and learning how to create an app, how to maintain an app, how to use the app. And I've learned a great deal, not just about the digitally publishing world, but I've learned a lot about myself too, and my team. So I'm trying to think, what else do I need to share with you? Tomorrow, Wednesday, we have a couple of shows for you coming up. We have a very busy week here at Star Nations this week. We're offering so many different things for you. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern is Nature Adventures with my co-host, Minnie Kansman. She and I are doing a show called The Fifth Element. And if you don't know much about the Fifth Element, I think you should join us because it's kind of a fascinating topic. And yeah, we got some things to share with you. That's 4 p.m. Eastern at our fan page, Nature Adventures. And then at 7 p.m. is Soul Connections with Polly Jo LeBay. And Polly Jo's night on Wednesday is It's a very powerful evening. If you have never experienced soul connections with Polly Joe, I would suggest that give it a try, even if you just come to visit and see what it's all about. The meditation, the healing meditation at the front end of the hour and a half or so together is about 20, 30 minutes or so. And it's a healing meditation. It's a guided meditation, but we individually come in with our own healing intention or what you want to release. And you're bringing in your own spiritual team. What Polly Joe does with her team is they create the sacred space for us. And they hold that sacred space for us. And if we need help, they're there to help us with the releasing. That's something that needs to be released. Okay. And then the second part of that is the individual card draw. If you want a mini card reading, a single card reading with Polly Joe, she draws a card for anyone who wants one, and she will go until everybody who wants a card receives a card. And so sometimes that means that we're there for a couple hours. Yeah, I think the most she's ever drawn in one night is 55 cards. That's a lot. And I get to produce that show for her. So come and join us if you really want to experience a very powerful healing evening. And Thursday at 4 p.m. is Ed Langdon's show, Life Wisdom with Ed Langdon. And Ed he is a law of attraction expert. Okay. And so the title of his show is Creating Your Life. And so one of the things that he's going to be talking about is the law of attraction and how we create our life, and how many times we spend more of our time in our past than we do in our present. And he's got some EFT, we're going to be tapping to bring ourselves more into the present moment and letting go of the past. Okay. So it's going to be healing too. And then the second half of his show is he'll be doing some channeling for us. He channels some of the Ascended Masters. And if you have a question that you would like to have answered for you about just about anything, you can send it to him early on. And you guys can have a little bit of a conversation before he does his channeling for you. And yeah, and I'll put the link for him in the comments after the show here. Okay, so you guys have it. Or you can ask your question during the show. All right. Okay, good. So I hope you can join us for any one of those shows. My daily live stream tomorrow afternoon I'm not going to have it because I have to be at a business meeting that was moved. And I have to be there because I'm a part of the project. And so I won't have the daily show tomorrow, but I will be back on Thursday. Okay. All right. So with that, please enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. And thank you so much for being here for the live show, and for those who'll be watching the recorded video, thank you so much too. And I encourage you to also like and share the recording. All right. Okay. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you next week for Communications from Home, where I am interviewing a new author, a new book. We're publishing a new book, and the author is going to be with me next week. And her name is Madonna DePaulo, and the name of her book is The Sound Weavers. So I hope you can join us next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Bama Mina, that means in Potawatomi, until we see each other again. Good night.